Lord, I'm having a bagel, so please don't let no cream cheese get in my face. I know y'all hate that. I'm sorry. But let's have a little segment called I Have Questions. So I need to be able to ask the ladies shady questions, disrespectful questions about each other, because I'm not trying to get put out day one. But I want to get almost close. I want security to be like Pete, like Bronx. So I would ask Karen, does Giselle make fun of the other women's marriages because she truly wants them to be unhappy like her, so they'll have more free time to spend with her? Because she genuinely doesn't like other women? Or because she just lacks the emotional capacity to know what she's doing, like Rob Dixon lacks the capacity to be interesting? I'm sure Rob is here tonight. Great to see you. And your femininity. I mean, I have to say, Grand Dame, you're amazing, but can you get more feminine than Rob the Throb Dixon? So I guess that would be my question for Karen. Next, my question to Dorit would be, since you're so chic and so rich, I mean, PK did just sign Ariana, would you donate to my charity, Showless Not Hopeless, where you would give 30 minutes of your time for an exclusive interview with Pop Rose, because we know you got something to say about the show and also just about life in Los Angeles. Also, Dorit, I would ask you, as the prettiest housewife, what do you think about Erica's fashions and plastic surgeries? Sutton Strack, I admire you now more than ever. When you walked into that group and had questions about Erica Jane's conning coot, he was a conning coot. You said, honey, I went up against my ex-husband and got $300,000 a month. I'll be dipped and damned if I'm afraid of this broke bitch who wasted the best years of her thighs on a con artist and is left with nothing. Nothing. Would I have a question for Erica Jane? No, because I know how to lose all by myself. I ain't gonna waste my breath on bad advice. Well, that's just a couple, but we're gonna get to a couple more. I've got questions for everybody. Well, except for Erica and Andy. Well, Andy, no, I want to talk to his wandering eye, because I feel like I'll get the truth out of that one. So, I'm gonna give you a Cliff's Notes version of the Reality Rocketing Vanity Fair article, because this deserves full attention before BravoCon. I want to know every word. But first off, let's look at this picture of Ebony K. Williams. Girl, you look good. Oh my God. Can Bravo start doing photos this well? I mean, every cast photo on Bravo should look this well. Here's Leah. She don't look too bad either. And here is Ankle Frankel, looking just as haggard and worn, rode hard and put up wet. So we open with a description of Sonia being too drunk. They don't say it's her, but I saw that episode. And she was. So then we scroll down after some, blah blahs. They do it for the money in part. More than $1 million for the highest paid cast members. But it's more than that. The second housewife remembers being a little girl and plotting in her diary to achieve public recognition. I used to dream one day that maybe I'd get on Jeopardy and have that put in my obituary. Now when I die, I'll leave this mortal coil of being a reality star. She's grown accustomed to the cruel comments about her body, face, vitriol, and life. But she's also become accustomed to the validate. Have I been put through the ringer, she says? 100%. Still better than my worst day withering away at the quiet life of desperation. When this housewife, speaking on a condition of anonymity because she does not want to lose her nightmare of a dream job, went to last year's BravoCon, a 3-day convention attended by 30,000 or so fans. No wonder we can't get tickets. 30,000? She turned to 2 former fellow Bravo celebrities and said, how do I ever be happy after this? That must have been Crone Gunvalson or Crone Bador. So then some more blah blah about the network. And then we get into how alcohol is basically a character on not just the show, but even the watching of the show, like with Watch What Happens Live, the Shotskis, the Take a Drink games, everything's booze, booze, booze. And so the women are encouraged to drink to give the producers what they want. Not by production, but just by, well, look, if I get drunk, I can go on and act a fool and we can be done for the day. And Simone has said so much of the same thing on Murder to Medical. On August 20, now here's some interesting tidbits about Leah. Her contract was for $3,000 an episode her first season. They do not want to pay these people. Now, Bravo does have some mental health on staff. They have a 1-800 for Dr. Barry Goldstein, whose website is realityshrink.net, that notes he's also a board game designer and expert. Sounds to me like somebody wants to have their own show one day. Now, during her last full season of Housewives, they could have been way more supportive to her than when her grandma was passing and really shouldn't have let her film. They told her, you can go, but you know they didn't mean it. And you want to know why now she had some real mental trauma. She had to stay in Silver Hill Hospital for 8 days, had a depressive episode, but that next year, Bravo offered her $250,000 for a week of work. So she said, hey, because honestly, you go back because you're like, well, shit, you done finally given me my money. You owe me. That's what you owe me. And you can add another $250, but what the hell, I'm going to get this. And she said people still didn't respect her sobriety on the trip, which they didn't. The cast began piling on the heifer, according to people with knowledge, repeatedly telling her on camera that she didn't want to be in Thailand, like Portia. In confessionals that aired, cast members discussed whether production would ever have pressured them to stay on a trip and not be with the dying grandparent. According to someone with knowledge, I want to know who this person with knowledge is. There was at least one dissenter that said they wouldn't even have to say a word. I would be afraid to leave and go to my grandmother's funeral. I would not do it. That footage wasn't included in the show. She had another panic attack on this trip, but she filed an employment discrimination complaint with EEOC against Bravo and Shed Media, its parent companies, and specific producers like Assy Cohen, that they violated the Americans with Disabilities Act. Good one. She said instances of support were subsequently reneged or weren't offered in good faith. Oh my God. Now we get the evidence. Oh no, I'm glad we breaking this down paragraph by paragraph. A virtual education system before filming season 13 with Ebony K. Williams with Housewives of New York. They had an education section with 13 topics covered, including Black women, how Black women are treated in a larger society and the Black community. Microaggressions. What are they? How do you recognize them? I think they need to, you can't get into your phone unless you learn this. Your daily microaggression, because Lord knows I get a few a day. Lexicon. Appropriate versus harmful and offensive language. And missteps. What to do when you say something offensive and how do you move forward in that relationship. Everybody was on the call, as well as an executive and a publicist and 2 representatives from a racial justice organizations. Williams had never previously met Morgan or Singer before the 1-hour session began. Williams interpreted the meeting as a cover your ass move. Yeah, but they didn't cover the ass thorough enough. She said it mostly focused on the kind of things cast members should avoid saying. Like the racist trope that Black fathers are not present for their children. I mean, Ramona's was, but he was just beating on her. I guess that's a white statistic, but it's also her white truth. And Ramona said, well, if they don't have a father, why can't I say that? Most of them do. Just arguing for the trip. And y'all wanted, you couldn't read the writing on the wall. And so this is when Ramona's racism really crept out, and she was like, we don't need Black people, and don't change your hair, I can't keep track of Black, just being her racist little self. Clinging to her crone. And the black producer that was on Ebony's series was never hired by Bravo again. And so even though they knew that Ramona had said the N-word, they still hired her for Ultimate Girls Trip. Now, when I hear that, I'm all for the reality reckoning. We also have 2 lawsuits coming up the pike. Caroline Manzo's lawsuit against Brandi Glanville and all of Bravo for the inappropriate touching that allegedly happened on Ultimate Girls Trip, and Marco Vega, whose butt was grabbed by Phaedra on camera. That ain't even allegedly. We saw it clearly. They said Bravo doesn't give them the same level of mental health that Marriage at First Sight or The Bachelor does, where it makes sure you're good to be on and off reality TV. But those shows are very one and done and there's a goal. Reality, it's all about telling your business, all about telling your business. But once you don't have no business, you gotta create some. So you get desperate antics. All right, well, that was the Vanity Fair article on the reality reckoning. And I'll see you before BravoCon.